We're a little after 9:30, hopefully. Start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Sad news stuck with me today. Rick is gone, so with that, we don't have any more additions for the agenda. Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
And the second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries. Minutes from the 22nd.
I read through the minutes and they look good, so I'll make that motion to accept.
I'll second Sandy's motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carried. General public concerns, we have anybody else?
Correct. No.
We know where you guys are at, so
Yep.
at least you got good colors on to support your... All right, with that, then we'll go to Ben.
Morning.
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 This morning, we have advertised for the public hearing for the 2022 secondary road budget and 5-year construction program.
I will make a motion to open the public hearing on said business.
All right. We have a motion and a second at 8:34. So do we have to wait till 35? Wasn't that the published time, or are we close enough?
I think we're dangerously close.
All right, well, we'll open the public hearing at 8:35 then. Okay, Ben, it's yours.
The secondary road budget is the same budget that we approved on the county side last week, I believe. Wasn't it last week we approved?
Yes.
Yes. So the state DOT budget is the exact same budget that we approved for the county last week. The 5-year construction program, I know we've done a couple of work sessions. We've added a couple of wood laminate boxes, one in Humboldt Township, one in Beaver Township, and split those up to the 5-year plan, just due to deterioration. Most of our current 5-year plan has been created with the emphasis of trying to do as much construction locally as we can, to save the county money, which is part of purchasing the additional excavator later down the list. I threw quite a few projects in on year 5. These are the projects that we are mainly looking at. They include a couple of small bridges west of Berkmer Bridge, a bridge to the north and west of West Bacon, Orange Township. I also threw on there Classy's Bridge, Divine Bridge, and Murray Bridge are still on there, with the assumption that if federal funding becomes available for any of those projects that have been programmed, and you can access that additional set of funding. A lot of the federal programs require that you have it scheduled on your 5-year plan to be eligible. It's more of a formality. I've also included paving over on the county line with Pocahontas County on 219. C-49 north to Red Gate. That is the majority of the additional projects that have been added.
So to refresh our memory, as long as it's on the 5-year plan, we can do it. If it's not on the 5-year plan, you can't add it.
Right. Well, you can do an amendment, like if we had a bridge fail on us, we can amend the 5-year plan to add that and bring it all the way up to this current year. Then
Current.
we have to,
Move some things around.
Our projects around. We do have that flexibility that we can
Okay.
add it later.
Did we receive any public questions?
We have not.
Okay.
Just to reiterate, is there any, this is all from the DOT, things you have to submit to them.
Right.
Is there any difference whatsoever from what we went through on the county level for all this versus what we're doing today?
No. Everything that
This is strictly a formality for the DOT.
well, we haven't approved the 5-year plan.
Oh, okay.
We've done work sessions on them, and we've...
So this is the official approval of that,
This is the official.
and it's official then to submit to the DOT with that information.
The requirement is that we have an approved budget and 5-year plan by April 15th. The gal with the DOT that's doing that is expecting, so she's asking everybody to get them in as early as possible.
Okay?
So that's why I moved it 2 weeks ahead.
So everything was pretty much done prior anyway.
Everything was done prior to.
Yeah, okay. So we're, yeah, well, we've been through most of this before, not all of it, so...
Everything in the first 3 years really hasn't changed, other than we added a couple of wood laminate structures.
I remember the discussion on those as well.
One of them's up on Nowhere Road, on...
That's under advisory yet,
Yep.
but, yep. And I like the thought, the county doing as much as we can with these replacement projects on what can be done reasonably. It's definitely cost savings than a contracting.
It is. If we can do it with our own forces.
Way less expensive.
We're already paying our guys, so that money incurred can be rolled over. You're basically just paying for the material.
Yep. So that's a definite plus for, you know, the financial side of it.
Well, with no comments from the public, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Close the public hearing at 8:39.
Second, Sandy did.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We now look for an approval for the FY 2022 Iowa DOT secondary roads budget.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Sandy
Second, Sandy's motion.
and a second from Eric. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we need to approval of the Humboldt County Iowa DOT secondary roads program, construction program, excuse me.
I would make a motion for that approval.
A motion by Eric,
I'll second.
second by Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So I get to pass this down to me today?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 4 of them.
The honor of signing.
All right. Looks like we're to the dust control. That's a good thing to have at this time of year.
Yes, yeah, as we're starting to haul rock on our secondary roads, we typically advertise, beginning of April. We got one quote back from Humboldt, and their price stayed the same as last year, at $1.15 a foot. There's typically one property owner that hires somebody else to come in, but otherwise everybody else will go out.
So, Procoff did dust control last year as well.
They've done the dust control the last probably 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
and their prices stayed relatively flat.
Okay. Well, there's not much discussion on that. I would make a motion to award the 2021 dust control contract to Co-op at $1.15 per foot.
Okay, we have a motion from Eric,
I'll second.
second from Sandy. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The next item that I have on the agenda is to approve extra work order number 1 to Matthews Construction on project FM 046 Terrence 79. This is the additional construction that we talked about, adding some paving miles to this year's list of already awarded paving projects. What we're talking about for additional paving, if you guys don't remember, it is east of Livermore, on the east side of the bridge going up the hill, where it is deteriorating, I guess rapidly. There's a tile line that we have to intercept that runs under the road, otherwise we're gonna do basically an 1.5 inch mill and smooth overlay. The same thing is planned for north of Bode, over to McKnight's Point. We overlaid that back in 2004, did a 4-inch in place with a 3-inch overlay, and it's into a very soft mix where we've got heavy rutting and cracking. We're gonna try and put an 1.5 inch Band-Aid over the top of that, and get down the road hopefully another 10 years.
And where does that start? Does that start right outside of town, or is that on, by the bridge, or where, how?
We're gonna start just north of town, once you get through the curves.
I wondered if-
Outside city limits.
Okay.
And go all the way to McKnight Point?
And go all the way over to McKnight's Point, Highway 15. We'll stop just short of that intersection so we don't get into the DOTs right away. And then obviously we'll skip over the 2 bridges and the railroad tracks that are on this project.
Make sure that any bridges and railroad tracks, if something needs to be done, it's correct, so there's no bumps and ruts and divots and...
We're gonna stay out of the railroad right away, so that's like $10,000 to get railroad insurance.
Yeah.
So the railroad tracks will still be relatively rough, but...
Well, but I mean, the transition to where you stop.
Yeah,
is not an issue.
we'll be milling at all of those locations and tying into the milling.
Yeah.
Excuse me, the milling header.
So do we did get the price with Matthew then, for them being in the area, they're, you know...
So with them being in the area, the prices are a little bit higher than what we had on our original contract for the extra work, mainly the milling, and then the additional mobilization, because where they're hauling this is, instead of having a long distance of about 8 miles, now they're hauling it probably 20-some miles. So the mobilization is the increased cost of all of their trucks hauling.
Where are they setting their plant up?
Severs Griffith. So they're gonna be right on the Clare Road, which is one of the projects that we're overlaying.
Right. Any other questions?
Well, no, it's good. I mean, the price-wise was, we got a kind of a bargain to add this in with the original projects.
These are the cheapest prices that we've seen in 15 years on asphalt, for whatever reason.
One quick question related to said projects. Do you know when they plan on doing these bids?
Their preliminary construction plan has them moving in the end of April.
Oh, okay.
We'll have a work session, or we'll have a pre-construction meeting here, I think, in the middle of the month.
Okay.
As soon as they give us the date, I will let you guys know if anybody wants to attend. But yeah, their plan is, they're gonna move in, they're gonna start on the Clare Road, and then do that 3-mile stretch, Pioneer Loop, I guess I call it. Then they're gonna be doing Gosh Park from the bridge north into Humboldt. They'll do the drag strip, and then they'll do these extra 2 projects.
Do they plan on doing these fairly consecutively then?
Yes, yeah, their plan is to move in, get everything done, and hopefully out here by the beginning of June.
Perfect. Okay. That's my question and concern from some folks. This is not going to be a fall anywhere near a harvest project.
No, this is probably gonna screw everybody up with the plane.
Well, not everybody, but if it happens to be in their location, it might.
Yeah.
It might, but No, I wouldn't, no one said anything about planting, they were very concerned about harvest, so, because we ran into, through no fault of the counties, delay in a contractor with a box culvert replacement that ran into fall harvest season a couple of years ago, and
Yep.
so, we can pretty safely say that these projects will be done well before.
These will be done long before harvest.
That was the only concern I've heard.
Are we gonna be good for the quarry out there? Bothering them for too long, or?
We shouldn't, with them being set up there, there's gonna be a lot more traffic in and out of the quarry. But with us doing asphalt instead of concrete, we should be able to, do it with minimal.
Interruption. Well,
Well, with all that, then I would probably go ahead and make a motion to approve that extra work order number 1 to Matthew Construction for the project FM-C04679-55-46.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
The last item that I have on the agenda is to approve quote purchase an excavator and trailer. This was on last week's agenda. We tabled it up to another, trailer contractor, or trailer supplier. After speaking with them, we've gone back and looked at our numbers as well as I've talked to the other two, suppliers that we were interested in. It's my recommendation now to award the purchase of the trailer, the Murphy tractor, and the excavator to Mid-Country. It'll save the county about $3,000 by purchasing those two separate as opposed to staying with the same supplier for both. And, both suppliers are fine with the separation. The machine that we're looking at is the ED-160 Humboldt. It has a 6-way dozer blade on the front of it. It's got about 105 horsepower engine. It does have the short turn radius on the backside, so that we're not swinging into traffic that's passing us in the opposite lane. And the trailer is a triple axle that. My plan was to send it to vote, but after the accident, I'm wondering if they should get anything new anymore.
Well.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I would like to consider, the additional warranty with the Cabelco. They're offering a 4-year, 4,000-hour full warranty for $5,551. That's basically bumper to bumper, covers everything for 4 years. Otherwise, they come with a standard 1 year.
Now, does that give you 4 years past the original year warranty?
3 years past the
So
original.
basically, that's a 3-year extension.
It's a 3-year extension.
The first year's included in the new price. So 3, I'm sure you're good at math, you figured what that was per year, it's not terrible.
It's like $1,600 a year to be fully covered.
That's parts and labor. If something would happen.
If something were to happen in the first 4 years of owning the machine, they would cover it.
well, for $1,600, we probably couldn't get them to come up on a service call to diagnose what
Yeah, that's
the
exactly
reason
right.
is.
We won't meet the 4,000 hours, but the 4 years is,
Well, they give you 4-year, 4,000 hour for that price,
right.
which is kind of misleading, because like I said, the new machine gives you a year, so that's basically a 3-year,
It's a
4,000.
3-year extension.
But it gives you up to 4,000 hours, and you're saying you're not worried about it accumulating that many hours on it.
No, I mean, we'll end up, after 4 years, we'll probably be around 1,000 hours.
Okay. But the
way they build things, I would say go with it.
Yeah, I think so, that's not egregious.
I mean, it's roughly, 3% of the cost of the machine.
Throwaway world.
Yeah, you're right, Dave, they just don't build them like they used to.
Nope.
So do you wanna add that in on the motion, or do you want a
That-
separate motion with that?
Figured, Ben?
I would like that added in on the motion that we,
Your price doesn't include the...
the price that I've highlighted doesn't include the $5,500 warranty. Okay.
I would make the motion to approve the quote, it's $207,763.67, with the addition of the extended warranty, which is $5,551. That would be the purchase order, for the excavator and the trailer. Excavator from Mid-Country, trailer from Murphy Tractor.
I'll second that.
Andy's got it.
All right, with the motion and the second, is there any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That's all.
Good work, and thank you for doing some extra checking, and thanks for saving us a little money on the... Not that this is a big deal, but do you have any idea if those are all the same trailer manufacturer, like Murphy just happened to get a cheaper price, or...
My guess is it's probably a deeper discount with the number that they purchased. Versus Mid-Country, they'll probably get a better deal on the trailer. Similar to any of our box culvert contractors, ECI gets a cheaper discount than the fly-by-night companies, just because they put in hundreds of them each year.
One thing Ben and I just visited on Friday, it's cutting the road
Yes.
time of the year,
Yep.
so when a farmer comes home and sees his roads, gravel road's been what they considered made a mess, you wanna refresh everybody?
So this time of year right now, we're starting to haul rock on our gravel roads, and with that, we're trying to build crowns on our gravel roads. When you're building a crown and trying to shape the road, if you don't cut shoulders, you leave a gutter section that holds water back and keeps the road soft. So we try to cut between each blade operator, I try and limit them to where they're not cutting more than 10-15 miles. And then they have the rest of the year basically to play with that material and move it from side to side. And as the winds pick up, a lot of the grass and vegetation that has died off blows away, and you're left with a nice firm road. I did drive it on Friday after Bruce and I had talked on one road in particular. The worst road, or the worst mile stretch was where the resident had called in. And I did drive again today because we got a shot of rain on Saturday, and it's starting to firm up pretty
Yep.
well. So, I'm hoping that my new blade operator in that territory continues to work the material back and forth, and it ends up being a nice road for years to come.
Well, the one thing is the farmers that mow the ditches, which we appreciate, looks nice along, he was just concerned that when they blade that all over the edge, and then I come up there with my mower and I catch all that stuff with my mower and throw it all over and tear the yell on my, I said, no, we'll...
And I think we pulled that material away
Over the other side.
He mows over the other side.
Yep.
And we also, recognize that he mows and maintains
Right,
his ditch, so we did not cut shoulders in front of his property.
right. But we appreciate their, willingness to mow them ditches, and it does look nice and all of that, and by the same token, we as the county would try to keep our roads as relatively the best shape we can, so.
Good shape as we can keep them, yes.
So anyway, I visited with Ben, and I said to just bring it up so that everybody doesn't think we're out, well, let's see how many farmers we can get mad on this section of road.
And we're not the only ones, I mean, Pocahontas County is doing it, Webster County's doing it.
Wright's doing it.
If you drive down on, Highway 7, the state did it, where they cut their shoulders and then pulled the material in.
What you typically, the crown is very important on gravel roads, so that drains water, and the shoulder cutting lets the water leave the road surface. But don't you typically do that prior to putting the rock on the roads?
Most of the time, not always.
I know that,
Typically, we spend about $500,000 a year on rock, and that affords us to rock roughly 1/3 of our gravel road miles. I believe this year we're scheduled to rock 186 miles of the county, which is 37% of the miles that we have for gravel. A lot of times we will cut shoulders and build crown and then rock over the top, but not always.
right, so sometimes it's both, and I've kind of given the same explanation to, you know, if it's graded, and yes, you're getting rock, you know, it's a road that's getting rock on it,
Yes.
but you've got to kind of go through the process. And the fact of keeping the crown on the road is extremely important.
It's all part of our regular gravel road maintenance.
Yep.
And it doesn't happen very often in front of a person's house. I mean, if we cut shoulders in front of your place this year, it's probably gonna be 10, 15 years before we cut shoulders again in front of your place. The main reason being, it takes longer for that gutter section to come back, so we don't have to keep cutting it every year.
Right.
You don't have to get choked up about it.
I know.
You get really emotional when you talk about grading roads, I can see. It's very near and dear to you.
It's a passion of mine.
Well, now we got...
Well, yes, now we got road maintenance discussed, and Ben's choked up, so we don't want to.
well, I just wanted to bring that up so that, because we get phone calls that why they destroyed my road, it's a mess, and then, yeah, well, I'm sorry, that's
And it's really,
fine.
it's really all part of being very conscientious, and like Ben said, to get the good road, to build the crown, to have the rock, you know, that you have a little maybe inconvenience point in time someplace.
We're trying to make it better.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, but generally speaking, the roads have been in pretty good shape this past year, and
They are.
I look for, you know,
Wood, no frost boils.
nice to have that, and then move on with the scheduled maintenance of the, you know, crowning, the cutting, the rocking. We should have very nice roads, you know, moving forward this year, yeah, we will.
They'll be ready for their dust
Yep,
cover, so...
yep, that's right, and we got that taken care of, for too.
Too, so we'll put that in the paper.
Thanks, Ben, for...
Yes, thank you for all of it. Okay, now we're 10 minutes behind on this next presentation, but he's gonna make up for it, so...
I don't know how much time we have, Bruce.
Well...
How much do you need,
How much
Jerry?
do you need, Jerry? We're here.
We will do our best. I'm Jerry Cheevick, I serve as a regional director for Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. If it's all right, I'll...
You're fine.
Yeah.
And so, as of July 1, I traded, not my choice always, but I traded Wright County for Pocahontas County, so now I serve Humboldt, Hamilton, Webster, and Pocahontas counties. And so, with me today, I brought Kirsten Delpy. She would remind me. But
You're good.
Kirsten's been with us now 7 years in the Humboldt County office. We also have a woman by the name of Kim Axme, who's our office manager, and we still continue to look for our adult program coordinator position. So we've advertised that a couple times, and it's being advertised again. So we're looking for that special person that has connections already to Humboldt County. We have found that when in the past we've had that as a half-time position with Pocahontas County, shared between the two, and so each county has now decided to hire their own. So on the adult side, I think that's going to be beneficial. And so I've asked Kirsten to give us a little update on the youth programming, and we'll talk a little bit more about ask you to look at the folder, but not read the folder at this time.
Need one here for, there, thank you. And there's Rick's chair, there you go.
Okay, so, with the 4-H program, this year's county fair is going to be held July 21st, or 20th through the 26th. We start that, fair event with our static judging on Tuesday. That is where all of our 4-Hers bring in all their static projects, and then throughout the week we continue with our livestock shows. In Humboldt County, we have 10, community clubs, ranging in all different of our, different cities in Humboldt County. And then, we do other things that I do. I haven't been able to be in the schools here lately, but we do school enrichment where we go in and teach different lessons. And then we also hold, an ag days for our 5th graders and then a safety day camp for our 3rd graders. And we hold the safety day camp here at the fairgrounds in Humboldt County. We invite all Humboldt County schools to that. In your folders, unless you have...
When's your safety day camp coming up?
So we weren't able to do it in 2020, so we need to do it in September. We have not set that date.
Oh, so you will plan on it for this
Yep.
September? Okay, good.
Yep.
Those are good things.
Yeah, so then in your records folders on the left-hand side is our stakeholders report that we publicize each year. This year has a little bit of a different, it goes through and talks through what we did to serve our Humboldt County during our pandemic. And then different things we did around our fair experience, and then also, we've been challenged with our plan for recovery, so how, Iowa State University Extension Outreach in Humboldt County can help build, a better economy is what the Humboldt County Extension Office selected. So that is something we will work towards, and how we can build Iowa after the pandemic. And then on your right-hand side, there are data for decision makers. I'm going to talk about your first one, which has your clover on it. So, last year, or this report is for the year 1920. So we, in the 4-H program, we touched 569 youth in Humboldt County. That is ranging from our school enrichment and program, and our club programs. And then that just continues to go through and shows how many, it breaks down on different graphs and things, and then it also talks about our 4-H member recruitment and retention, or the volunteers that we have in our 4-H program. And then on the last half of it, it talks about our English language learners, and how many of those we impact our programs, our race and ethnicity, and then also the free and reduced lunch programs.
Are your numbers staying relatively, or are numbers dropping off as enrollment, kids
Our
drop off?
enrollments are just going down a little bit, but we're staying pretty steady.
That's good.
Nope, that's all I have.
So a couple other things that I'll share. Some of that other information has to do with demographics of the county, and there's one on housing and also on health. And, again, I do think that through your ISAC, you probably get those types of statistics already, but I wanted to share that Iowa State does have a mechanism to go ahead and collect that data as well with the research on campus. Kirsten talked just a little bit about our programming initiatives. You know, as I take a look at those 6 initiatives, I want you to know that Humboldt Extension Council selected reviving the Iowa economy as their #1 goal. But, you know, as I read these, their #2 priority as they head to rank the 6, I would suggest that they're probably all relatively important. Addressing mental health extending opportunities for youth, improving financial security, increasing access to quality child care, and improving food supply, safety, and access. And so, of the 4 counties that I serve, Humboldt was the only one that selected reviving the Iowa economy. And so, Pocahontas selected child care, Hamilton and Webster selected mental health emphasis. And why I tell you that is because no one operates in a bubble by themselves, and so what one county works on, everyone else benefits from. But these are to be the priority programming ideas for the next 2 years to go ahead and help Iowa recover from the pandemic. And so that's the contribution and the emphasis through Iowa State Extension and Outreach. The other thing that I wanted to put in there was, I've been in communication with Todd Lee through Conservation Board here, and there's a flyer in there on the Master Conservationist Program that's coming this summer. It's on the left-hand side, behind the stakeholders report. And so we'll be in Humboldt on June 8th, out at Shelton Park with the program, and then back to Dodge Park on June 29th. And so Todd has worked with us on securing shelter houses and that type of thing.
Good.
So at the end of the day, you know, we're alive and well. It's just been, as I looked at my notes, we were here the last time on February 24th of 2020. Had we known what was going to happen after that, we would probably spend a little more time with you back then.
Well, probably not. I have your phone number.
I know. So Kirsten's card is there, mine is behind hers, and so if you have some questions, otherwise, this is just really, we appreciate the opportunity to come in and check in and give you an update on what's happening with us.
I think hopefully people appreciate what you do, I mean, in the helpfulness of the staff. You know, Kim is saying, just things that you can learn through the extension service. Just reference information, don't work with Kristen too much, I should call you more often, but Kim, if you have questions, they'll get you in the right direction.
Well, the other piece of this, once we get the adult programmer on board, I look forward to some, lots more going on.
Some of that is just, there's so much out there, but you need to sometimes have that person to steer you in the right direction.
Sure.
You know, and it's nice to be able to talk to somebody rather than just look at a website. You probably end up looking at the website, but they can help you through what you're looking for. So much appreciated that
You're welcome.
that you guys do that.
And Kirsten talked about youth programming, but again, I look at some of you and know that you already know about the ag and natural resources aspect, programming side, community and economic development, and then what we call human sciences. So everyone's part of a community, everyone's part of a business, and everyone's part of that family. And so, again, you know, Bruce, you asked about the youth program. You know, there are so many things that we could continue to do in partnership with schools and so forth. Community club, that's the one that people traditionally think about 4-H, and there's still emphasis, as Kirsten mentioned, that we have 10 clubs here, and that's a good number.
Right.
So,
Well, we appreciate the parents that take the time to run those, because it still is the same thing. They have to have the parent leadership in order to build a solid basis for those kids, so.
we always say we don't lose children through 4-H, we lose parents through 4-H.
Right, so.
And their kids just have to go along.
Right. Well, we appreciate you guys coming today and spending some time and getting the literature.
Well, thank you very much.
Hopefully you'll be back next year.
Oh, yeah, no mask required.
See ya.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question for you. On the safety day camp, you don't have a date yet for September for the third grade?
Nope, not yet.
Are you gonna do third and fourth, since the third grade's last year,
We'll
first
have,
grade or sixth
we'll
grade?
have to talk to our schools, see what we can, you know, I'm gonna have to reach out to them and see what they're gonna allow, because I don't know if they're gonna, since we do combine 3 different areas, or what we're going to really do.
Okay.
But yeah.
Wright County's already got theirs set up, so.
Yep, she emailed me with the date, and then I'll have to work around it's always around that Labor Day weekend, so we'll have to work it around the fairground and their availability. Yeah.
Thank you.
You bring the paddle in?
Yep. What are you?
There's gonna be coffee too.
Okay, are you,
I had it up to the clerk of court's office.
Okay.
Because we had depositions that they were a little concerned about. So I
Good time
left
for-
it there, I just wanted to check that.
I thought maybe you were coming in here to pat us down.
Oh.
All right, I think we have, a couple of items on our list down below for jailers. Corey, you gonna,
Yep, one of our, permanent part-time overnight jailer, Erica, young lady, has decided she's, expecting another child, and it's just gonna be too much for her to maintain her employment. She has asked her volunteers to stay on as, as needed type thing, so, so she's gonna step back from her regular duties, and then, so we'd like approval to accept her resignation, and then to hire Joanna Perk to fill her spot as a permanent part-time jailer.
well,
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation for Erica. And she is gonna stay on as needed,
Yep.
okay?
And so I guess I would ask that she's already at the max pay for a part-time jailer, and just ask that if she were to fill in any shifts after that, that she maintain that same level of pay.
Right.
okay. Do you need that in two separate motions, or can you,
probably.
all right,
Well,
well,
I'll second Dave's motion for the resignation.
we have a motion and a second for a resignation for Erica. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
And that is with her still working as needed.
Right.
So
Okay.
that should be in
Put
the
that in the motion that she would still be on call
as needed.
as soon as she takes care of her duties as, yeah. All right.
I'll make the motion to approve to hire Joanna Perk as a part-time jailer at a rate of $15.14 per hour.
We have a motion from Sandy and a second from Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Oh,
Anything
I just
else?
noticed there's not a start date for Joanna.
Yeah, I have to get with her in the next couple of days, to try to, because she just formally accepted the job on Friday morning, so she needed to try to get some things figured out with her. She's doing daycare currently, so she needs to get some, things figured out with the kids that she's caring for to make sure, so we'll be figuring that out in the days to come.
Can you let Trish know?
Yep.
We put it in as her start value. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Cory.
You bet.
Corey,
Thanks,
Cory, we might have a firing squad up here Wednesday.
Firing, for, okay. Any idea what time?
Be late afternoon,
Okay.
3 or 4, somewhere around there. We haven't found out yet, but,
Is that Pat?
yeah.
You get recruited.
I thought I saw it posted, but I don't remember.
When I hear firing squad, I think something else.
Don't think it's any live rounds.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
When I miss a time, I'll call down dispatch.
Okay, perfect, sounds good. Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you. Okay, looks like we're getting towards the bottom for committee reports. Sandy?
You want me to go ahead and start? Okay. Last week, I just had a very busy Wednesday, the 24th. I had, a Zoom meeting for CSS, was our normal governance meeting for that. Nothing really to report on that. And then at noon, I was on the CSS Children's Behavioral Committee, and that will be my last time that I will, be on that, and the next meeting will be in August. And of course, we will be with, Rolling Hills at that time. So we're just trying to work on, of course, how to, get providers for, children and what we can do for, COVID relief, things like that. That was most of the discussion on that. And then in the afternoon, I was on the Zoom meeting, in for Rolling Hills. They're gonna move forward with hiring a, service coordinator for, joint between Humboldt and Pocahontas. That person will be a Pocahontas employee. They'll be, for the most part, over at Pocahontas, but they will also come over to the Humboldt, courthouse also. Those days are to be determined how that's gonna, all work out, but they're gonna start, advertising for that position, 1st of April, and they're gonna advertise it, with, of course, the credentials that they need for this position, and then it'll be advertised, in Humboldt, Pocahontas, Wright, and, Webster counties, just so that it's someone, close by. And that's all I have. I was on Zoom from 10 o'clock until 5:30 that day.
Oh,
It was pretty crazy meeting.
That's awful.
Yeah, it was about maybe a 20-minute break between the two.
I missed a couple of meetings last week. I tried to Zoom in, but we didn't have the internet service down there at all. It'd go in and out, so I tried to get in, but it didn't. That's all I got.
I did not have any other extracurricular meetings, because the one that I was supposed to have got canceled, and it has not yet been rescheduled, so I was not, no extra meetings for me last week.
Okay. I had, one the week before on the 17th, Trish, I forgot, I was on the ministerial conference call, and we'll discuss that. There wasn't a whole lot going on with that. Last week, on the 23rd, we had our UDMO meeting, Zoom call at 5 o'clock, and then on the 25th, we had CFR. And, I don't know, so that's been made public about CFR has taken the operation in, Iowa City and in, Des Moines. I can't remember the name of them, but they are, running those two facilities. The operation, they haven't taken it over, they're just, basically the people in Fort Dodge are helping to, run both facilities are tied together. Starts with a P, but my brain isn't working this morning, but those two facilities are Michelle and her team are helping with the day-to-day operations of those two facilities, so they've put a lot more on their plate, according to, instead of running one, now they're running three. So, those were the meetings I had. Anything else?
I had a question, or just a discussion, thought process. Do we have any information on what the heck's going on with the shared sanitarian from either Pocahontas and or Wright?
Sandy, have you heard anything over there? Have they got somebody hired?
No, I haven't heard anything. They're still, interviewing, in that process. I think they've got several, from what Kyle and Clarence said, they had like, 3 or 4 applications, and, they were gonna start, interviewing, but I haven't heard that they've hired anybody yet.
Okay.
And then a couple of them that actually went to school for, this, so, we got some good candidates.
He sounds great.
Let's get his 2 cents on.
I visited with Rick Rasmussen yesterday, briefly, about it, so.
Did you get anything further from Wright County?
Well, I asked him, we had what was it, 2 weeks ago, Trish, we had a acreage that someone needed to have their septic system inspected because either they were selling it or they were buying it. So Rick Peterson called them and they did it on a per hour basis with a lady from Wright County.
Does Wright County have their own full-time
Yep.
person?
And that's when I visited with him, or with Rick, about, well, could we share that person?
Yep.
And when I saw him yesterday, I asked him the same thing. I said, have you guys ever come up with anything so that we could kind of know what...
Type of an agreement?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he said, no, we haven't, but, well, we can try to get something put together. Well, I don't know, don't wanna make Pocahontas mad by thinking that we're out trying to make a deal and... We're trying to save us.
Right, correct me if I'm wrong, but thus far, what we've agreed to with Pocahontas would be just as a per needed and a per charge basis. What precludes us from having an agreement with two counties for a part-time sanitarian?
There could be a deal where they might not be able to do something that we need done tomorrow.
Well, and so what is wrong with, like you asked of Wright County, come up with an agreement that, because it's basically
As needed basis.
and to have from either county, that would, I think, have the availability for Humboldt County would be better.
Right.
Two options.
Well,
That's why I brought that up. I know we've talked about it, and we don't have anything from Pocahontas. It has, I've heard from certain contractors that deal in particularly septic systems, been a little bit of a runaround for them to get the person there that they need to complete their work. So I just thought, if possible, maybe we can have an agreement with two counties for our part-time sanitary.
I think that would be doable in my opinion, but I'm not
I don't know what would, if there's any reason we couldn't.
I'd pass that off to the chairman. Should we call him and harass him?
We'll wait and harass him next week, but, thanks for checking with him. Maybe, I mean, this is just a discussion to have, but, yeah, we do need that at the sanitarium, but as we've discussed multiple times, more of the part-time basis has worked for a number of years, and I think we'd like to continue it, that direction.
Well,
It'd be nice to have an option between two counties if that would work.
right.
I think that would, it'd be, better if we could do it that way.
Well, let's put that to the test for next week and see what Peterson, if he's talked with anybody, and we'll go from there. I don't see anything on next Monday's agenda that we've got scheduled already, so I guess you don't have anything other to cover?
I think Denise, now I gotta find out, I can't remember, Denise Ballard's gonna be coming,
Okay,
but I think
that would be, that's for insurance, right? Insurance review. She usually will send you a message to let you know that. Well, with that, if there's nothing else, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. So moved. We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're out at 9:26.